The Kisumu City Management, with support from Kenyan Urban Support Program, is implementing best practices street designs that improve safety for vulnerable road users, pedestrians and cyclists. This long-awaited progress comes after years of discussions and consultations with relevant stakeholders from a time when Kisumu was still a municipality. This newly adopted model is called non-motorized transport.
Mimi naitwa Kennedy Ouma, ni mkaaji wa hapa Kisumu. Mimi ni mtu wa bodaboda wa baiskeli. Na operate from Jomo Kenyatta Highway, Odinga Street, and Angawa. Unakuta barabara ni moja, kwa hiyo barabara ndio tunafanya na pikipiki, gari, tuktuk, na hapo ndio watu pia wanatembea. Sasa unakuta saa zingine hii kazi ni ngumu, na kama tuko wengi kwa barabara, saa zingine hata kukanyaga baisikeli ni ngumu. Juu unaendesha kidogo, mtu anatoka huko kwa barabara anaingia mbele yako. Sasa unakuta unaweza gonga hata mtu.
Thousands of other cyclists like Kennedy Ouma and pedestrians too have had to endure the current state of the roads in Kisumu City.
We are having pressures on our roads. There are growing number of people visiting our town. And since the city was planned many years ago, the provision for areas where pedestrians and other non-vehicular movement was allowed or was planned for is becoming narrow. So it was time that we came up with another design.
Reducing the risks of death and serious injuries while decreasing the demand for travel by motorized vehicles are the main reasons behind non-motorized transport. This will in turn address multiple urban transport challenges like congestion, pollution and traffic crashes in Kisumu City.
We were looking at having safer, having cleaner, having accessible cities.
The project, which is in the pilot stage, is being referred to as the Kisumu Triangle Project, as it is addressing some of the busiest streets in Kisumu's central business district: Angawa Avenue, Odinga Street and Jomo Kenyatta Avenue.
Usually in most cities, the central business district becomes the center of cultural expression, the center of artistic expression, the center of tourism. So we want to make Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Street a promenade. In other words, a street where you can walk, you can use light vehicles, but not heavy buses and commercial vehicles. So that during the day, the normal business can go on. But when they close their shops at 6, then we have a flea market for the night, where all these street traders can now come in. Anybody can come and sell their wares, have their music, have their food up to 1 in the morning. So that is our long-term aim. That's why you have seen that plans are underway by paving the pavements properly for non-motorized transport. In other words, for people walking.
In this street where we are sitting in Angawa, most of it is going to be paved for pedestrians. We are going to have a cycle track, and it's the road that is going to have public transport terminus. So we are going to have 2 matatu stops. We are also going to have a sanitation facility for the pedestrians and also the people working with the streets and also the people who could be doing business on the streets. So this is for Angawa. When we go to Jomo Kenyatta, we are still going to have pedestrian paths. That's also where we have the service ducts. Then Odinga, which is the biggest street from the KCB roundabout all the way down, we intend to have it all pedestrianized and at some point totally eliminate vehicle access on Odinga.
The project in general will improve the safety of pedestrians. It takes care of people living with disability in a very convenient manner. And also the cyclists. We have wide footpaths which are being paved with cabro blocks. These cabro blocks, they provide a fairly rough surface to prevent skid. The cabro blocks, they are solid, they produce sound which help those who have impaired vision to tap, hear the sound and perceive. They are wide enough for people to conveniently pass each other or rather overtake each other within the pavement. Also, you are separated from the motorized facilities, so it is reduced conflict of traffic.
Sasa hii mimi naona kama kazi inaendelea na nafikiria itakuwa vizuri juu hata sisi profesa anatutengenezea penye tutakimbia ambayo tutakimbia bila wasiwasi sisi.
The intense work in progress has interfered with the day-to-day operations of the road users.
Inevitably, you'll find a number of people being affected. If you maintain the status quo of the way it was, then they'll not be accommodated. There'll be congestion. The area will not be suitable for the operation, whether it's business or movement.
The most affected are hawkers who trade their wares along the streets.
We had vendors encroaching into walking spaces, into walkways. So it was vendors, they didn't have a designated place for them to operate in.
So one of the components of this is also the relocation of the informal traders from the areas where they've been working so that we could open up this infrastructure, and we have infrastructure working in terms of drainage, which we think is a good thing in terms of even protecting those businesses.
So it's important to tell them or for them to understand, and that's what we did, telling them that this is important for you for the future, to facilitate or to aid in your doing business or moving around town.
As small traders within the city, we have been having serious engagement with the city, which is the Department of Kisumu County Government, for the last 6 years. And in this ongoing project, we have been engaging right from its inception to date. And on the issue of impact on the vendors, as you can see, you have walked around, there's been disruption, but there's also light at the end of the tunnel, because by the end of it all, we should be having permanent work sites for the small traders within the CBD.
The stalls are of standard sizes. They are well covered. Light will be provided, water will be provided, and sufficient drain. So their livelihood is improved.
Tunafurahia kama vile county wameamua kutujengea hall hapa. Because at least hapo tuko na faida nyingi sana hapo. Sasa hii kama mvua inanyesha, hatuna hiyo shida ya kurash nini.
Kwa kawaida maendeleo ikikuja mahali kuna kuumia, kuna kufaidika, lakini kwa saizi tumeumia na tunatarajia mazuri huko mbeleni.
Kama serikali imeniambia niende, itakuwa itapokea, but tukua tumezoea hii life ya hapa hivyo, but tukibariki wa huko pia itakuwa sawa.
Traders come on the road because they believe that is where their customers will meet them. But we are telling them from our experience in history and even here in Kenya, your customers will come where you are. I want to transform them from being hawkers to being small traders. Because to hawk means you're on the street. To being a small trader means you're trading from somewhere, and it will be much better for them. Our funding is coming from Kenya Urban Support Program, which is a program supported by the World Bank. And we have discussed with them the possibility of establishing a small commercial center for small traders. And they are very warm towards the idea. But we can also mobilize resources from the private sector.
There are other new elements that will be introduced into these newly designed streets.
We are also sorting out the issue of the drainages. We find that in the city center, when we get a lot of rains, we actually suffer the issue of flash floods within the city center. This is because most of the drainages that we had in the city center actually have gotten blocked over time. And this has been worsened by the number of informal traders who actually were working within the triangle of the city center, and some of them had been blocking some of the drainages that we had as a city. The other component that we are also going to look at is the issue of services. You know, the electric poles, the cables for fiber, all these other services that are supporting the buildings within the city center. So we find most of the time in the past, we just come and roads get cut as we pass cables and we redo the roads, but you don't get the roads back to their original form. So one of the components of this project is to have dedicated ducts along the corridors, the 3 corridors, so that when these service providers are coming into the city, we can actually direct them to use the common duct so that not everyone is coming to open up our roads each and every time they want to install the services. Green integration is also part of the project, so that we don't have to take out all the trees that had grown over a long time, but we want to integrate them so that pedestrians can actually just freely walk below them. And the other component that we are going to bring is to make the streets a space of repose where even pedestrians can at some point stop, sit down, have a repose before continuing. So we are going to install street furniture where people can sit, and at some point, now that cities are going smart, we have even free internet on the streets, so Wi-Fi, so that people can actually interact with the street and it becomes a space where people can actually work, meet, and can enjoy the city of Kisumu.
Despite the interruption to everyday operations that road users have gotten used to, there's still a warm to positive response towards the developments.
Kwanza kwa biashara, ina promote biashara sana. For example, ukiangalia hapa penye tunatengeneza, kwa sasa hii kuna shida kuingia ndani. But after kuitengeneza, itakuwa rahisi kwa makastoma kuingia ndani na kununua vitu. Kwa mimi inanipendeza juu inafanya kaunti yetu inakaa beautiful sana. Secondly, imenipea chance ya kufanya kazi, imenipea job opportunity. Nakuja nafanya kazi napata mshahara.
Ni mzuri kwa saa hii mtu anaweza lea juu. Kuna watu wanatolewa tukijenga, tukimaliza wanarudi. Sawa, hao watu wamekuwa affected kidogo, but mbeleni kazi ikiisha, Kisumu itakuwa mzuri. Ita benefit kila mtu sana. Tena face ya Kisumu itakuwa city.
As a pedestrian specifically, I think there is a lot of progress and positiveness when it comes to such projects going on. We have our own place that we walk safely. When from work, when from hustling, when from anywhere you come to Kisumu, at least you find that you are walking along a safer place.
So far, so good. We can see people are really appreciating, even as incomplete as it is. People are really enjoying that separation of pedestrians having their own separate walk and crossing at particular points. We can already see that it's going to be a success.
We are hoping that we will be rolling out the same in the entire city. And we identified 15 roads, and we are waiting to implement the same.
This is just a start. In fact, already we've started talking to our funders to extend. They are very impressed with what we are doing, and we promised them that it will come out very well. The reception is good. It's good for the town.
Other county residents, not just those residing in the city, can look forward to a facelift of some of the roads in their areas.
It's not a one-off. I mean, take for example even Ahero, which does a lot of business. We can decide that the street in Ahero is done like this, you know, or in Katito for that matter.
We are hoping that by the end of the year, we'll already have designs, and this then will guide even all the other implementation of roads, not only in Kisumu, but in the entire Kenya. And this is influenced more so by what we are doing here in Kisumu.
On the whole, Kisumu County's infrastructure is shifting for the better, and its residents can take pride in the work that is in progress as they embrace a beautiful and efficiently run county they call home.
A lot of good things are coming. In fact, not just within my departments, in all government of Kisumu town. So we're just asking for support. We're asking for tolerance for the short inconvenience that will happen. Nothing good comes without pain.
We in Kisumu are determined to stop walking with a chicken and being flying with the eagles. Our team is called the Blue Eagles. In 1 year, they have flown to the National League. If they can do it in 1 year, we too can do it in 5 years.